Hello everyone, I'm here with Karol Nachachowski, who is an education specialist at the Curriculum Library. Tell us a little bit about your work at the Curriculum Library.
Okay. Most of my work in the Curriculum Library is helping undergrad students find resources for either their coursework or their practicum. So I get to have the fun job of connecting students with great literature, and a lot of it is children's literature. It's not just textbooks. So,
which of those resources are the most popular, or of all the resources that you have in the Curriculum Library, which are the ones that the students are more attracted to?
Well, interesting that your course is, or the course that we're gearing up for and talking about for this interview is Indigenous children's literature, and I have to say, of the library guides, the children's literature for Indigenous resources is one of the number one guides, as well as Indigenous resources with lesson plans, and people are really looking for these resources. Our student teachers are asking for them more and more even before they take their Indigenous Ed classes. I think we're having instructors integrate those resources more readily or more easily into their course load because they're great pieces of literature. Our job is to not just put the books on the shelf and have them there, but to say, everybody should read this book. Everybody should know about this, and here's why, because it deeply resonates. It's about the human spirit. It's about resiliency. It's about love and compassion, and we want to connect our kids and our school communities with that great literature. People are wanting these resources and are drawn to them, and publishers are creating these beautiful works of art with stunning images, and just there's no excuse not to use these books in the classroom. They're so rich.
Do you think that there are some genres that are more favored than others, or that teachers preferred your traditional story with a beginning, a middle, and an end to other kinds of, like, poetry?
When we were growing up, the novel was held up as something that everybody should get to know and read, and then Shakespeare, and that there were certain things. There was a novel study, the whole class read the same book. Now we're kind of moving away from that a little bit and trying to have more reader choice. We recognize that reading is social, or that learning is if we believe in social constructivists, that we work together and that we co-author some of the lessons and the thinking with the students. And so what I'm finding anyways in the library is people are moving away from the one novel for everybody to trying to build a classroom library for more choices for the students and gathering smaller collections of books for literature circles. I think people are quite drawn to graphic novels now for students because they find them so engaging. But picture books, I think, are still very valuable and can be taken in to a lot of different grades with a lot of good learning, and you can have great conversations and great critical thinking happening and going on in the classroom, where you might have been maybe a secondary teacher might not have wanted to take a picture book into a high school classroom. If you're, for instance, doing lessons on human rights and social justice, you could take in When I Was 8, or what else have we got? The Rabbits, which tells about the colonial experience, but it's set in Australia or New Zealand as opposed to Canada, but then making comparisons to Canada and how what that first contact might have felt like on both sides. It can open up conversations. It can open up ways of knowing. I think you can talk about whose stories were privileged in the past, and why are these stories being told now, and why are these stories being sought out now. It's a really exciting time. The BC Museum has put a lot of work into the Learning Portal, and I think that they've really tried to make it accessible, and I think they're trying to be respectful to different cultures and different perspectives, more so now than ever before. And I think that that's an exciting time for teachers to be creating the websites and to be co-authoring with community members and that sort of thing. So I think good things will come from sites like that. Looking at book review sites is a good idea. So the Canadian Review of Materials, the CM magazine, out of the University of Manitoba, is really good. So when you go on that site, you know that people have looked at the resources with a critical lens and are examining not just the story but the illustrations and how they work together. And so this isn't something that I would send students to, but I would send student teachers to.